Crazy little thing called Love Dev. Today's episode is 120. Doodoo Filler. Hello, you lovely folk. I bet you're glad to hear my voice again. What's happening to me? It's becoming weekly now. I've been alright. Hope everyone is well. My car's a bit poorly. I say poorly, it just needs a bit of TLC. I've sent it into the garage to get the car serviced. Basically, that's all it needed. As my car tells me now, come on, change me oil. Alright then, matey, we'll do that. Got him booked in. I did want to do some writing, to be honest, but I thought, I've got plenty of time for writing. I don't have any gig tonight, which is very unusual. Unless something props up. But I thought, I'm going to do a barbecue. But as it today, the weather, it was supposed to be nice. And it's just a bit cloudy now. And I've looked at the time and the sun comes back out after 5 p.m. And I thought, great, I'm going to have a barbecue then. That's what I'm going to do. I've been busy though, gig-wise. Had some great gigs. Did one the other day for Junglers, right? And as I was leaving, the audience cheered and clapped for me. And that is, like, amazing, isn't it? That's when you know you smashed a gig. I remember doing a gig in Liverpool and the same thing happened to me. I walked out and everyone started clapping and cheering. And I was like, wow. Wow. That's like an encore, but it comes afterwards. I would have loved an encore on stage, but oh well. I'll take that. That's a nice way to say bye to someone, isn't it? Like clapping and cheering. Bit like when a plane lands. You know, when you're on an aeroplane and the plane lands and everyone starts clapping because they got to their destination safely. I don't understand why people do that. Maybe it's the relief of the flight. They could have had a bit of turbulence on the way. God knows. I don't know. I've seen it a few times when I've been on a plane. People start clapping. I suppose when you're leaving the UK, you're more than happy to go anywhere else because the weather's better there. That's what it is. Yeah. In other good news, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I'm doing the Buxton Festival Fringe, which happens to be in July, and I believe it runs for like 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm doing 2 dates of my show, Half Soaked. I would love to have an audience there. It is a ticket event. It's not pay what you want at the door. Where most of my shows have been. But like I said, I want to take it on tour. Do you know what I mean? I feel the show is strong enough and it's good enough to be toured. So I would love to do that. I don't know how to go about it, to be honest. I think I need to get a show manager or something, a tour manager. And then they can help me out. Maybe do it that way. We'll see. But I'm also doing Nottingham Comedy Festival as well, so that's great news. That's not until November time. Got plenty of festivals to get to. I did try and apply for Birmingham, but I didn't get anything through it. There's a couple of venues that are looking for acts, so I've applied for them. We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Hopefully next time you hear the next episode, there'll be some good news on that. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Been doing the usual things, housewifey, all the cooking and cleaning. As I said, the weather's nice. I got all the food prepared for the barbecue. I'm going to do some chicken tikka on the skewer. Chicken tikka wraps. Tortilla wraps with chicken tikka. That should be alright, innit? Hopefully. Oh yeah, I want to tell you about a gig that I did the other night. It was really weird. Like, it was a hot day, talking about barbecue and stuff. It was a hot day, right? I'm not going to say where it was. But the audience were really weird. It was a very bizarre gig. I was doing my jokes where I normally get laughs, right? And they weren't really laughing along, and I don't know why. And then I started having people asking me weird questions. So one person asked me if I like Morph, who's a plasticine character from the early 90s. And I was like, why you ask? That's a weird question. I said, yeah, I like him because he's brown. There was another guy in the audience, and he kept telling me it's his birthday. Like, he wants to be the limelight of the show, and it was strange, man. And then there was other people asking me questions as I was performing. You know, some people were, heckling and stuff. It was a really, really strange gig. I didn't know what to make of that gig, to be honest. I don't know how I felt when I left the stage, but the promoter said to me they were happy with my performance and they're definitely going to book me again. Maybe it was my crowd work. God knows. I don't know. But you know what? The bear pit gigs are always the most fun because anything happens in them and makes you stronger as a comedian. So those are the bear pit gigs that we call. Talking about bear pits, so we see what's happening in the UK. Let's start it off, folks. As always, it's from Reddit, from the Ask the UK forum. This one caught my attention. I've just briefly read it. It's been posted by Billy Butch29. Billy Butch29 has asked the question, would you stop a child walking around in dead of the night? Now, does he mean sleepwalking? You know, I think if somebody's sleepwalking... I've got a joke about sleepwalkers, actually. You want to hear it before I carry on? My sleepwalking joke is... Sleepwalkers, they're living the dream, aren't they? I don't even know if that joke makes sense, but maybe it doesn't. Would I stop a child from walking around in dead of the night? Like I said, if they're sleepwalking, you're not meant to stop them, are you? I believe that's true, isn't it? Do you if a child is sleepwalking and you catch them, do you just kind of guide them into their room and then put them into bed? Because they'd still be sleepwalking though, wouldn't they? If you put them into bed and then you turn your back and you think, oh, they've gone to sleep now, but they've actually got back up again and they started walking around. I'd be petrified if one of my childs were sleepwalking, I'll be honest, because of the stairs and the danger around it. Like, do they know their surroundings when you're sleepwalking? It's quite... Yeah, if you lived in a bungalow, I suppose you wouldn't be as bothered, would you? Until you bump into something and hurt yourself, and then hopefully you'll wake up. But if it was out in the street and I saw a child walking around, I'd be very, very concerned. Really concerned. I would probably follow that child, not in a stalky way, but I'd keep my eye on them, and at the same time I'll be on the phone to the police saying there's a child walking around on the street. I'm going to stay with them until you get here, give the location, and then hopefully they'll be there as quick as lightning. I'm going to carry on and reading his post because there's obviously more to it. Billy Butcher said he was driving home early from a night shift and he saw a child that looked about 12 years old walking with his pajamas and slippers on the pavement. It was a long single carriageway, maybe 5 minutes away from the nearest housing estate. Sounds like they came from that direction, probably. I wonder what he did. So they've said, found it odd, especially on a school night, but I didn't want to overstep the mark as a man in a white van pulling up beside a lone child at 3 a.m. Oh, he's on about himself. I thought he was on about someone else was following him. So he was in a white van. This guy was, and he was finished work, and he saw the child at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's quite concerning. I hope he did what I said. Did you call the police and stayed with that child, or did you just leave them? It's very concerning. I mean, that's really young, a 12-year-old. Any child is young, to be honest. I could feel it for him as well, because he's in a van and stuff, and there's always that prejudice, do you know what I mean? White man in a van. Picking up children on the way. I wonder what other people have commented. I don't know if he hasn't really put anything more towards this story, although he put it up yesterday, by the looks of it. I'm going to read a couple of comments and see what people have said. People are deathly scared of ringing 999 unless someone is literally bleeding out in front of them. I don't know exactly what it is, but to many it is a taboo. I think at one point or another, the idea was drilled into the people that call handlers are swamped 24/7 and you'll be blocking the line for anything less serious than an active shooter or a leg blowing off. That's American, I think. That person is American. We have guns here, but not like you guys in the US. We don't shoot each other every frigging day. Another comment here is, I've called 999 to report what I was really convinced was a fire. It may have been, but it was out before they got there. I just saw a lot of black smoke coming from several houses away, and I waited 10 to 15 minutes watching before I made the call. The colour only seemed to get deeper, and I saw absolutely nobody else witnessing it. The smoke began to fade after the call and was gone by the time they got there. I saw the firefighters go and seemed confused and annoyed and felt really awkward and cringy for calling, but absolutely nothing came of it. I could exactly call up to apologise or anything, so I could only hope they didn't believe I was pranking them. I was about 16 and I really did think I was doing the right thing. You were doing the right thing, mate. I imagine if there was ever a fire, they'd have smelt it and found the evidence, but they seemed to find nothing at all I could see. Now, I think what everyone is talking about, how scared they are to call the police, right, because of wasting police time. I've called police a numerous amount of times. I remember when I was young, me and my friend were walking to school, and we saw this guy. He was acting really weird. He was standing by someone's front door, right? And this was like a very old door, so it had like two large glass panels in the door, in the frame, and they were quite big. And what we saw this guy do, he basically back kicked the bottom window, and it instantly broke straight away because it was quite thin. And then I carried on watching him, and what he was doing, he was breaking the glass off, and then he got into the house that way. And I knew then that this guy is a burglar. So what me and my friend did, we told the local shop, and the shopkeeper, he just rang the police, and the police came, right? We went to school, and then the police came, and I believe they arrested him. They've got him. I think he was a drug addict. So what happened the following day, when me and my friend were going back to school, when we went in, the headmaster called us, right? I'm not going to lie. Me and my friend, we almost wet our pants. We thought we were in trouble for something. And she called us both in the office. This is the headmaster of the school. And she said, I just want to thank you. The police informed me that you and your mate reported a crime. And the police were really chuffed. And they gave me and my friend a certificate. I remember that. Oh, God, that was ages ago. I'm not sure if I've told you this story before. I probably have, come to think of it. I'm not too sure, to be honest. But I think that's the whole thing. People are scared to call the police for wasting police time. I remember, I think I've told you this. I was on the way back from work, and I saw this woman headbutting a wall, and she just continued to headbutt it. So I thought, I'm going to ring the police and tell them. I think that's the only time I've actually called the police. But I think if in doubt, ring them. There's no harm in ringing the police. If you think something is happening or someone's life is in danger, absolutely, man. And if you ever do see a child walking alone in the middle of the night in their pajamas, they definitely probably are sleepwalking. It's amazing that you can just leave your house safely and walk up a road. Like, how do you know your surroundings around you? Like, it's really strange, man. It's really, really bizarre. I'm going to have a quick, brief read of sleepwalking. I had to Google it, right? So sleepwalking is also known as somnambulism. It's when people get up and walk around while they're asleep. It's more common in children than it is in adults. Children usually outgrow sleepwalking by the teen years. Sleepwalking happens once in a while often. It isn't a serious problem and doesn't need treatment. Okay, so they actually grow out of it. But sleepwalking happens a lot, may suggest an underlying sleep disorder. So sleepwalking in adults is more likely to can be confused with or happen as part of other sleep disorders. Medical conditions also can cause people to walk in their sleep. Interesting. People who sleepwalk, they may get out of bed, walk around, sit up in bed, open their eyes. Oh my God. Imagine if your partner did that. You'd freak out. Have a glazed, glassy-eyed expression. They won't respond or talk to others. It's hard for them to wake up. Be confused for a short time after waking up. They won't remember in the morning that they sleepwalked. My wife told me that last night that I was singing in my sleep. I don't even remember singing. That I was singing in my sleep. What song was I singing? I don't even know, man. Anyway, also have sleep terrors that cause screaming and waving of arms and legs. I've had that. I just want to see what else it says. Sometimes people who sleepwalk will do routine activities such as getting dressed, talking, or eating. They can leave the house, drive a car. No way. No way you can drive a car. Take part in an unusual behaviour such as weeing in the closet. Another one is taking part in sexual activity without being aware of it. They can get injured by falling downstairs or jumping out of a window. Wow. They can also become violent, being briefly confused after waking up or once in a while sleepwalking. So they can actually fight while they're sleepwalking. That's mad, isn't it? I bet some of you already knew that. I didn't know that. I did not know that. It's interesting, man. So apparently, if you do have sleepwalking, right, they say if it happens more than once or twice a week, or several times a night, leads to dangerous behaviour or injury to others, disturbing the sleep of other household members, lead to being very tired during the day or causing problems in daily activities like school and work. So if you've been sleepwalking, you're not going to function properly during the day when you're in your normal routine. It continues into your child teen years or starts for the first time as an adult. Imagine that happening to you, starting as an adult, sleepwalking. That's madness, mate. Well, I hope that child was okay anyway. The one that dude said. I really do hope so. So according to statistics, right, about 7% of people will sleepwalk at least once in their lifetime. So maybe I have done that. Sleepwalked. Sometimes in my sleep, I imagine that I've gone up and used the toilet to convince my brain that I don't need the toilet. I hate getting up in the night, going to use the loo. That's when you know you're getting old, innit? Because when you're young, you can just hold it in your sleep and it doesn't matter because it will just stay there until you wake up in the morning and then you can use the toilet. But as you get older, it doesn't work like that. Your body doesn't function and your brain tells you, you better get up, mate. Otherwise, you're going to pee the bed. That's what happens to me. Talking about symptoms and stuff, I thought I'd move on swiftly to no stupid questions. But it feels like the whole podcast is kind of combined into one because this is a very good question that someone has put up on the No Stupids forum. They've asked medical professionals, what's the number one thing you would advise to most people? Now, I'm not a medical profession, obviously. You guys know that. I don't even sound like one. If I was a medical professional. See, I can't even say the word. Do you know what my name would be? Love Doctor. Dr. Love. Dr. Love Dev. Hello, come and see Dr. Love Dev. I'll help you out. What's wrong with you? I don't have any. All I would say is get yourself checked if you can. Make sure you get your MOT. Those of you who don't know, I've got a lot of US listeners now. The US people, it's basically when you get your car tested. So in the UK, every year we have to take our car to a garage, and they just check the brakes, they check the wipers and stuff like that, and the indicators are working. They make sure it's roadworthy, basically. And we have to do that every year, unless you've got a brand new car. So if you've got a brand new car, out of the showroom, 2024 plate, then you don't have to get your MOT done for 3 years. So after 3 years, if you got a new car, that's when you get your car checked out. That's for you non-UK listeners out there. Wolf Chono has obviously posted this. I forgot who the person was. Wolf Chono says, even if it's super basic, what would you recommend everybody to do to look after themselves? That's what I just said, didn't I? Get your MOT checked. Maybe even go visit the dentist. I haven't been to the dentist for years. Who am I to say that? They've put down, for example, a gastroenterologist might say incorporate fermented food in your diet, or a therapist might say use breathwork techniques. Those are probably rubbish examples, but yeah, what would you advise the general public to do? I'm going to read a couple of comments. Someone's put, maybe not the level provider you're looking for, but as a 911 paramedic, wear your seatbelt. I've seen people walk away from mangled wrecks with little more than a scratch when using all the safety equipment. I've seen people ejected onto the highway through the window just from side wiping a barrier. Blimey hell. Wear your seatbelts, folks. There you go. That's come from a paramedic in the US. Doesn't matter what country you're in. Wear your seatbelt. Another one has put down, car accident victims who didn't wear a seatbelt are the worst to find upon arrival. For that matter, keep your car tidy. That's true. In an accident, everything in your car becomes a projectile that can and will cause you further injury if you're not tied down, and you will become one as well. That's a good one, matey. That's a good one. Another comment, the amount of people that just have zero physical activity in their whole life, then wind up not being able to get off a toilet. Then we have to send them to a nursing home from the hospital in their mid-70s, is outstanding and preventable. I wish I could just get in a time machine and tell these people in their 30s and 40s to start now. Dear God, please just do anything regularly to prevent this sadness. Keep yourself fit. It's probably the most common one, isn't it? Get your MOT done. Wear your seatbelt. Go to the gym. Look after your heart. You've only got one heart, ain't you? And just stay happy. Would that keep you out of hospital? Probably not. But yeah, of course it will. Keep yourself happy. There we go. Nailed it. And there we was the no stupid question. I'm going to move swiftly on with the podcast. As always, I'm going to end it with a weird news story. Let's see what today's story brings us, eh? Looks like this weird news story is again. You guys have always kill us with your stories. It's all the way from the USA. This story goes something like this. A Louisiana man, 31 years old, happy birthday, was given 5 years probation for faking physical and mental disabilities to get a female caregiver to change his soiled diapers. For his own arousal. Is busted for doing it again. And he's been sent to jail. He's done it again. This guy's never going to stop. A New Orleans judge sent a 31-year-old man, happy birthday again, to jail after he violated his parole by tricking women into changing his soiled diapers. Rutledge Rory, shout out to Rutledge Rory Diaz, IV. What's IV? That's a number, isn't it? Was on probation for 5 years after he posed as an 18-year-old mentally and physically disabled man named Corey to trick several women, and he was charged with 10 counts of sexual battery and human trafficking for his scheme. As part of his plea agreement, he was ordered to maintain employment, attend Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, undergo internet addiction counselling, staying off social media, and he had to complete 400 hours of community service. I don't understand the community service. For someone like him, what is the point? Like, he's just going to go and do it again, innit? If knowing him, he probably done it and pooed in the frigging community while he was out there. Although the women victimised agreed to his arrangement, one who spoke publicly doubted the treatment would change him. See? Even she said that. Hopefully he follows through with that, she said. I don't believe that he will, because 5 years is a long time. I hope he can make himself better. He needs psychiatric help, he does. That's what he needs. She was right. On December the 23rd, Louisiana State Police launched an investigation after learning of a text message in which Diaz again pretended to be an adult with special needs, telling a victim that he was engaged in alternative therapy and offering to pay her to change his diapers. That's madness, mate. He tried to solicit the victim to find other women to care for him. In the process, it's like a frigging cartel member. Police said an investigation is still underway and they're searching for additional victims of Diaz's perverse scheme. Diaz was arrested at his Mitaya home on December the 23rd. He was sent to jail in lieu of £200,000 bail for human trafficking and attempted human trafficking charges. He was also charged with 5 counts of parole violation. During a court hearing for the 2019 charges, 2 women spoke about Diaz, with one saying, "I used to believe that almost everyone in the world was inherently good, but in this case, I was wrong." At the time of his 2019 arrest, authorities said that Diaz used an online app called Urban Sitter to hire a college student to look after a fabricated 18-year-old brother named Corey. Wow. He made a fake account, pretending it was his brother. He would then pose as Corey and pretend to be handicapped. While a home help worker looked after him and changed his soiled diapers for about a year, you know. Diaz told investigators that he had a trauma during childhood and being treated like an infant brought him back to a time and place where he was at peace. Diaz told one woman who was 20 that Corey needed a person to deal with him. Tough toddler gloves. Did he put that on the profile? Pretending to be Corey, he sent text messages to the woman saying he needed to be potty trained and he needed his diaper changed and required a child booster seat. This guy is sick in the head. The woman looked after a man she believed was Corey on 10 occasions. She changed his dirty diapers, according to records obtained by the Times. The documents state Diaz became aroused during that time and would suck on a baby's pacifier when she performed diaper changes. The female victim never met the older brother and he made payments through an Apple app. However, she then had questions after Diaz attempted to use another method to pay her. That's when she clocked on. She's like, he's paid me on Apple. Now he's paid me on PayPal. What's going on? The woman told police that the profile was the man she knew and cared for as Corey. So that's how he got caught out. After contacting authorities, she contacted the babysitting app and Diaz's profile was removed. Diaz later contacted her to see if she could care for Corey at an apartment on a block of streets. The police secured the warrants to arrest Diaz on sexual battery counts and took him into custody. I hope he got a good spanking on his ass. I wondered if he got that. There's some weird people out there, man, innit? In the universe. Jesus. There we have it. I hope that didn't leave anyone with a scar. Don't have any nightmares tonight. And if you do have a nightmare, make sure you're not sleepwalking at the same time. We wouldn't want that. And if you are sleepwalking, hopefully someone will find you and not be afraid to call 999. There you have it. That's the whole podcast for you. It's been lovely, 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 lovely. Lovely thing you can do. Please leave me a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple.